is Sam. Thanks for checking out this video. If you get to the end and you liked it, then subscribe, bell notification. Give the video a thumbs up. Slight relocation, just with like the heat wave and everything. Thankfully, the heat wave finally broke where I'm at yesterday. We had several days of 40+ degrees, which just not built for that. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but that's just what we were at. We recorded several of our highest temperatures of all time in the area. Thankfully, we're not British Columbia though, but it is also wildfire season. And then a bunch of dumbass politicians thought, despite all of the bodies that we're finding of Indigenous children, it was still appropriate with all of that together to set off fireworks in my neighborhood. And at the same time, there was something called like fire smoke clouds or something like that from the wildfires, exacerbated by the extreme heat, which literally a whole town of British Columbia went up in flames in like a few hours. Yesterday, like the whole town is just gone, like hot or something like that. It's called British Columbia. Anyways, the clouds from, I guess, the smoke of the wildfires created lightning somehow and struck like several 100,000 times BC and Alberta. It's a new fear unlocked I didn't know about. And now there's a wildfire near me, so it rained a little bit. So hopefully I don't have to evacuate ever. I think my city's okay. We've never yet had to do that because of the different like stuff around us, and there's like lakes and divs and everything, but fuck it. If it's gonna happen, Alberta's gonna find a way to do it. Anyways, these are the books I managed to accumulate in the month of June. Actually did really good. I kept to my budget. Really, I'm kind of pleasantly surprised by that. And yeah, I just wanted to show you them, and it was nice. I took a trip to Edmonton in the month of June for just a long weekend. And someone actually guessed what the location was. What I was talking about when I went to this used bookstore in Edmonton in the past. I think it's technically like Asia, the Asian downtown or Asian town part of Edmonton, because I always just find the best stuff there, and I also always just find the best food there. But they have a bookstore there called like We Book Inn, and I went there again and found some goodies, and I had just some things that I had pre-ordered and everything come in as well. So these are the books that I managed to get. So off the bat, I picked up a copy of Hazel Bly and the Deep Blue Sea. This is Ashley Herring Blake's most recent middle grade book. They're normally contemporary with a little bit of romance and queer girls finding themselves. Ivy Aberdeen made me bawl like an absolute baby, and I read it while I was driving to... Where was I driving to? Was it Musqueam? Somewhere like that. And it's an Indigenous community in southern Alberta, and I've never cried like that in a book in my life. I think maybe The Book Thief did that to me years ago, but like that book hurt. And then there was Sunny St. James. I also really liked that one. All I really know about it going into is the main character, Hazel Bly. She's lost one of her mothers to a tragic kayaking accident that she was also in, and I think they were originally in California, and they end up in some community in Maine. Her other sister, or her sister and her other mother, and kind of try and figure things out. So I get the impression that the cover may be the sisters on the front there. I'm not totally sure though, but I'm curious. I also love that everyone finds themselves in Maine. Like that's all I know of as a Canadian about Maine, is like that I know a lot of Canadians like vacation or trip there because it's not super far off of the border, but also if like it's just like it's that town you think of in every like Christmas rom-com, you know? I also ended up picking The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid. I wasn't sure if I was going to buy this month or wait and kind of hear the feedback, but I saw it in person and I was so hesitant about it because I do wish it got a different cover. Like this isn't bad, but like this doesn't speak to me the way I was hoping it would when I read the plot the original time. But I ended up just grabbing it because it came out in trade paperback as well, not just hardcover. So it was like less $40 investment and more of a $15-ish, $22 investment for an adult fantasy. Much more reasonable. This is supposed to be Hungarian and Jewish history folklore. The main character, I don't know how to say her name, Avike. So she ends up getting like forfeited by like the local townspeople because she's like the only one I guess that doesn't have or hasn't shown magic. So they're looking for someone without magic to use as a sacrifice essentially. So when the guards come around looking for someone, her oh so generous neighbors are like, take her. Fuck it, take her. They take her, and then like after they leave with her, the whole like group of knights or whatever who are transporting her get like killed in this weird accident, except for one guy who ends up being the disgraced prince of the dad that is going to use her as a sacrifice. And then he also like talks about how his brother, he thinks his brother is making like he's gonna make a play for the throne to try and coup his dad. And his brother, from the sounds of it, is a total psychopath. So they're gonna kind of have to work together, and eventually they hate each other, but as they're traveling, it's gonna turn into romance, because that's what happens. But yeah, I'm very curious about this one. I will probably, if I can squeeze it into my July TBR, I will. If not, I'll read it in August. I'm just super curious about it. The plot has kept me interested. Then when I was in an Edmonton bookstore, literally all I did was, like, when I got to Edmonton, I picked a bookstore by literally typing in Jade City to find a damn bookstore that had this in stock, and I finally found one. So thankful. This is legitimately the reason. I don't like ordering books off of Chapters Indigo online. They're so slow to ship things, and like they ship their Canada Post, which just takes for frickin' ever. And so I just prefer buying books in stores. So I finally found Jade City. I've already read this by Fonda Lee. For some reason, they had book 2 of this series in stock at my bookstore and have never brought this one in stock. Can't explain, but this is really good. If you liked These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, but were looking for more of an adulty version of it with, like, take out the Shakespeare references, this is one to try. I believe this is set to become a TV show. The 3rd book is supposed to come out later this year. So I've already read this, absolutely adored it. I own the 2nd book. I just wanted to own a physical copy of it. I own the audiobook of it. So, and she's also Canadian, Asian, and I don't know. Yeah, she lives in the US, but she's originally from Canada now. Or I guess, no, she's from Canada, but now lives in the US. So I'm just everything about this book. I highly recommend it. Then when I went to the Wee Book Inn again, I found a used copy, even though there's like a slight bend in the corner, and like that's it. There's nothing else wrong with this. That doesn't even look, honestly, like the spine was ever open. So I'm not. Anyways, I got for $11 the Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. This is the sequel to Name of the Wind. I was looking around to see if they were going to do an anniversary edition of this, so I would hold off on buying it so I could get one that matches the first book that I have. But I haven't seen anything online anywhere. So, and I think we've passed the 10-year anniversary, so I just don't know if that's not going to happen, or if they're going to wait to release it when they announce if the 3rd book's coming ever, before everyone dies. But either way, I genuinely haven't looked at the summary of it. I just know that I really enjoyed The Name of the Wind. It's such a good book. It's long, but it's just a really good flowing book. And the world reminded me kind of The Witcher. Like the show. I have only read I think 1 book of the Witcher series. But like take away like the dark parts of it, but like all of the traveling and the questing and the learning and all that stuff in The Witcher, it really did remind me, the book reminded me an awful lot of that, but then it adds in like the wind magic and the musical instruments element, which was really cool. So I get the hype around it, so I have book 2. No clue when I will start reading it, but I got it for $11, so cannot complain. And it's in, honestly, I've seen worse books in worse condition being sold as brand new at our local Chapters than this. There's like a divot in the spine, and then the corners of are a little worn, but that happens through mailing. So very happy with this find. At the same bookstore, I also picked up one to watch. I've been debating this one, and I just had never like pulled the trigger, but I found it for $5. Again, used. I'm fairly certain it was never opened though. From the Wee Book Inn in Edmonton. I don't know a ton about this book. The main character is B. Schumacher. She's like a Instagram celebrity person, and however, I don't know if she's had her heart broken or she's just not interested in romance normally or whatever. But she's also plus size. That's another big thing. You can tell from the cover, but that was another big appeal to me. But she gets, I guess, the tap to be like the next, essentially the Bachelorette, on a new reality dating show thing, and I guess she wants to go on it. I'm not sure if it's like for PR purposes or like just recognition, and she's not planning to fall in love with anyone, but you know, she's probably gonna fall in love with someone, right? You know? So also, oh my god, totally sidetracked with this. Have y'all seen the trailer for the next Netflix's dating show? It's like an acid trip. I don't know who. It's like Love is Blind, but furry edition. I don't know who said literally just like having a wall between people wasn't enough, the way they did with Love is Blind, which is a horrible show, but I loved it. But the new one, they're just making everyone wear dramatic prosthetics, so you can't tell what they look like. And they're just going on dates in public like that. And they look like I'll put the title of it here. You have to, like, it's a 90-second trailer that they've dropped so far. if you just genuinely want to experience what I imagine taking acid is like, watch this trailer. And at the same bookstore, I also picked up for $5 as well, Midnight Train to Prague by Carol Windley. This is one that actually popped up an awful lot on my recommended reads. And another one that is used, and I'm fairly certain the book was never opened. There's not even like rub anywhere from like being in a packaging or anything like that. But it's just another World War II, World War I era historical fiction with a female center. And in 1927, as Natalia Faber travels from Berlin to Prague with her mother, their train is delayed at Sachsen, Switzerland. In this brief time, the train is idle. Natalia learns the truth about her father and meets a remarkable woman named Dr. Magdalena Sheferova, whose family will become a significant part of the future. Shaken by these events, Natalia arrives at a spa at the shore of Lake Havets in Hungary. Here she meets the journalist and writer Count Mikolo Andorjan. I'm so saying these names wrong. I'm so sorry. In time, they will marry, and Natalia will devote herself to life in a rural estate in Hungary. When war breaks out in Europe, Natalia loses contact with Mikolos, the Count, her husband dude. She believes they are to meet in Prague, a city under Nazi occupation. She sets up a shop in a as a fortune teller with a pack of tarot cards. In this guise, she meets Magdalena that doctor lady, her daughter, Anna. Accused by the Nazis of spying, Natalia is sent to a concentration camp. In 1945, Natalia and Anna are reunited, and with courage and determination, they find the strength to begin again in a world changed. I got my newest Finnish language edition of the Nevermore series, so this is Holopox. I can't speak, read, or communicate in any capacity in Finnish. It is just to add to my collection on the shelf just above that you can't see of all of the Nevermore books. So I got the Finnish ones, and the real detailing is like the standing there in front of the tree thing, and it's sparkling gold. I also got my copy, my pre-order copy of One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I have since read it. It's not as good as Red, White, and Royal Blue, and y'all need to stop pitching it as just as funny as Red, White, and Royal Blue. It's not, but it is a good read. And I really liked the romance and the whole concept of it, and the whole being stuck on a train ghost thing was actually really cool. I'm really curious to see what next Casey McQuiston does. I got my pre-order copy of The Queer Principles of Kit Webb, which I plan on reading in the month of July. This is Cat Sebastian's newest one. I have somehow never read anything by Cat Sebastian, but the main character, I don't know if he like runs a bar or something like that off the main road, but Kit has left his stand and deliver adventures behind him, but dreary days at the coffee house have begun to make him pine for the heady rush of thievery. When a handsome yet arrogant aristocrat storms into his shop, Kit quickly realizes he may be unable to deny the highborn man what he desires. And I'm, from the cover there, you can guess where it's gonna go. I also got my pre-order copy of The Blade Bone by Asma Zehanat Khan. I'm so sorry about that. This is the fourth and I believe final book in the quartet. These are the UK covers. I just really like them. The US ones are super basic. So I waited for the paperback so I could get all of them in the same format, and this came. I haven't read the summary of it because I haven't read books 2, 3, or 4. I read book 1, actually quite liked it, so I decided to bite the bullet and get these really, really gorgeous covers. So this is the last of the series that I need to own, and I will get to these beauties eventually. And I think the last book that I physically got was The Box in the Woods. I pre-ordered this. This is Maureen Johnson's newest book in the Truly Devious world. It is not a continuation of the same mystery of the Truly Devious trilogy, though. It is set in a camp in nearby, I think, the original academy, and at the camp years ago, I think it was in the 70s, a bunch of camp counselors got murdered and it was never solved. And so someone has, I don't know if they're reopening it as a camp or if it's just like campgrounds, but the owner wants to essentially like give Stevie the opportunity to solve the mystery, and she wants to do like a true crime podcast, which sounds exactly like some Steviness. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the side and main characters from the original trilogy, if they're going to make appearances. And the mystery of Truly Devious was just so good. Like, oh, so good. So I have high hopes for this. I hope it's just as good. You can see the purple there. This is the hardcover. There's nothing on the end pages, but the under dust jacket is also purple. And the spine, it's like reddish foiling with the title there. So I am very, very excited to read this. I'm going to wait, I think, until September. Fall is my best time to read mysteries. So that's where I'm going to go with this one. And then we got digital books that I bought too. So for Libro, the June catalog for the library complimentary, the audio complimentary review copies for, they give a catalog once a month to librarians that they can choose from, and if they can, they pick as many as they want of audiobooks for free that they get. So I picked up Malibu Rising. This is Taylor Reed Jenkins' newest one. I know that it's just like a family from multiple perspectives, and they have to decide like what they're going to take and what they value, I guess, on like after a house like essentially like goes up in flames after they have like a big wild party or something like that. I just expect that I'm going to want to cry, so I'll read that eventually. I also got The Maidens. I did already read this since I got it. This was the new book from the author of The Silent Patient. And then I got The Love Song of W.E.B. Du Bois. I haven't read that yet, but it was on my radar from a work recommendation. W.E.B. Du Bois is someone I've always heard like referenced in historical context, but I don't think I've ever read anything by them. So I'm curious if I'm going to be able to appreciate this book as much, but I do plan on reading it. I also got King of the Fur Queen, book I had never heard of, but it's from an Indigenous author that I see all the time in Canadian bookstores. So this was a kind of, I think it was also this month picked as Chapters Indigo like throwback book. So every month they pick an adult book, a YA book, a nonfiction book, and then a throwback, like an older book, to give a bit of a sale price to. And it was picked in June as the throwback book, so I was like, oh, I've never seen that. And it has a new cover, which is really pretty. So I'm curious about this one, so I will eventually read it. I also picked up The Eighth Life, as well as The Moon, the Stars, and Madame B. I just wrote down, that's probably a shorthand of it. And I also picked up A Dark and Secret Place. So there was a lot more adult fiction this month than normal. I think the month before there was a fair amount of YA, and I've gotten my July ones, and there was a good amount in there that were just adult fiction. There's not a lot of YA or middle grade options the last couple months, so expanding my reading. I also picked up on sale Get a Life Chloe Brown from Libro. They had it on sale for $4.19. I've already read it. Talia Hibbert's series is like so freaking good, and I want to eventually collect all the audiobooks. I also picked up the audiobook for Sky Without Stars off of Libro as well. I think it went on for like $7 or something like that. It's another one that I absolutely adore, the Sky Without Stars. I'm very excited for the third and I think final book. I think it's supposed to be the final book. I thought book 2 was the last book though, but I'm pretty sure it's the last book that's coming out. But it is Les Mis meets the Lunar Chronicles, and I really enjoy it. And having looked at the catalogs when purchasing for my libraries digitally, the audiobooks for the series were well over $100 each, and they were metered access, meaning we didn't get to keep them. So I generally don't buy audiobooks that are metered access for our libraries, no matter what the price is. The whole appeal is just being able to like know it's in our collection and I don't have to think about it. But also at that price, if I'm only getting it for 2 years and it's $100 and something, I have to be damn sure that a lot of people want to read it for me to justify that, right? And I just don't think there is that in this community. So I was like, I'm not buying it for that. So I was like, I know that I'll never be able to just sit there and wait for it to like pop up in our library catalog. So I bought it for myself. I also don't know why, but randomly Legendary by Stephanie Garber went on sale for like $3 off of Chirp. So I grabbed that. Book 1 and 3 didn't. Don't know why. But I just figured Stephanie Garber's another one that I would like to collect, the Caraval series books. I know not everyone likes that series. People seem to love it or hate it. I love it. I love both the sisters. They're a train wreck and they're flawed people, but I really like them as characters in these books. So I grabbed Legendary. And then on Prime Day, I think it was, Audible had a site-wide sale for any members that you got somewhere in the range between like 40 and 70% off of books. So I went through all of my wish list and found any books that were under, with the discount, that went under $11, because $11 is about the cost of a credit. So I wanted to get something that would be cheaper than the cost of a credit. And I ended up getting quite a few things. I got Tilly and the Map of Stories. This is the third book in the Tilly series by Anna James. So I got that for $6.50. Then I got King of Fools by Amanda Foody, which again, I wasn't sure why only some of the books in series got like deep discounts and then the rest of the series would get like 5% off. And I'm like, what was the purpose of this? It's not like you have an extra stock or something like that. These are digital copies. But anyways, I got King of Fools, which is book 2 in the Ace of Shades series from Amanda Foodie for $6.80. And then I got The Last Uncharted Sky for $7. Thank you. I now have that whole series in audiobook and physical format, despite the stupid price point that they put on those books. And I can't comprehend why. I managed to get all of them in audiobook format and in physical format. I'm so excited for myself. It's amazing steampunk meets the Three Musketeers-y kind of thing. Highly recommended. I also got These Violent Delights on audiobook. It was on for $6. Shit, can't complain about that. And I also got the audiobook for Storm of Locusts for $7.50. So I was pretty happy with that. That's another one that it was an Audible exclusive too, so I'm not gonna find a better price somewhere else because Audible got us by the balls on that one. And last of the month, Chirp had The Heiress Gets a Duke for $2.99 American, so I grabbed that. I've been curious about that, and the sequel just came out this past Tuesday, and historical romances seem to be something I can enjoy for the fair amount, for the most part. And I have seen this book pop up again an awful lot on like the side columns being like, since you read this, you should try these. And I think after the past year or so trying authors like Courtney Milan and Evie Dunmore, like I think I've been able to like find historical fictions that I've liked. So I'm willing to give this one a shot. Heck, it's $3. It's not going to be the end of the world even if I don't like it. So those are the books. I think everything that I managed to accumulate in the month of June. I am not angry, honestly, with everything I got. I didn't really impulse buy anything. The only thing that I wasn't really expecting to spend money on was Audible, because I don't have Audible Amazon Prime, so I didn't know Prime was coming up. And they also don't tell you what the sale's going to be. I'm pretty sure last year there was like no sales on audiobooks whatsoever, and this year they gave Audible a big sale. Or even like in the past they'll do sales, but it's like the same 20 books that they put on sale every few weeks under just like a new sale name. Like, okay, I own this book already. Like, you've given me 40 opportunities this year to buy it. I get it. But this year they were like, no, just the whole website was on sale. And I was like, shit. I'm not going to complain about that. I will, put them in the description box down below. I will also link all of my social media, including my Storygraph. The Storygraph website finally launched an app. I'm so excited, and they have an and they launched a Google Play app. For a couple of days, I think it was only on Apple, but it's now on the Google Play Store. So I'm jumping back and forth between the two platforms. I already really like Storygraph way more than Goodreads. You can do half, quarter, whatever star ratings. You can put trigger warnings. You can highlight certain themes, pacing, everything. It's so much better than Goodreads. So I have all of that stuff linked down below. If you follow me, I will follow you back unless you have a Super Sketch account. Stay safe, stay inside, stay out of the sun. Jeez, don't die. Don't set off fireworks unnecessarily or do stupid shit like gender reveals with guns during the summer right now. Okay? None of us need that. Try and be a good person. That's it. I'm just so burnt out from the planet right now. Figuratively and literally. Have fun. I will see you all next Tuesday for, next Tuesday will be end of the month June wrap up. And I think I will eventually then be caught up. And yeah.